All right, so today we're going to jump into 10 games in the metaverse that I think you guys are going to want to watch. They are up-and-comers, they are stalwarts in the group, and then there's also some edgy projects that are just now getting started, and that's what we're going to dive into. I think you're going to love it all. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to Tech Path. Before we get started today, I want to thank our sponsors of today's episode, which is perfect timing. It is a new game that I think you guys are going to love. It's the first mystery adventure game with horror elements so far. It's kind of a space setting game that I think has a very interesting look. If you've not had a chance to see it yet, I'm going to show you some cool clips on this. It also has a very interesting aspect to us, and that is an NFT sale that's getting ready to happen on December 30th, and that is their spacesuit. I'll break down that here in a second. Also, they've got a demo that's available for play and download on the PC that just is now. It's just launched on the 28th. And then cool gameplay. You are going to see some tokenomics that are going to get into this. I'll talk a little bit about this. We'll go into their white paper quickly. They are on our list today as well, just so you guys can kind of get a bigger understanding of what they're doing. I wanted to jump over to the Binance Gaming NFT Launchpad. So here is where their IGO is coming up. I wanted to enter in that way. And then this will go over to the marketplace. You'll see Dark Frontiers. This is where their spacesuits and how you can get to it. You'll follow the link in our description that'll get you to this. And this is the 3 different levels of spacesuits you can get into. So here's the Gamma tier. This is the first limited edition. There's only 500 of them. Unlimited play time. Let me zoom in on that for you. 3 random skill attributes and a unique design. And then that one's like, I think if I remember, it's around $1,000. Let's go over here, or is it the $2,000 one? Yeah, this is the $2,000 one. So that's one option. Then you go into tier 2. This is another 1,000 in total supply, 3 hours of oxygen or gameplay, and then 2 skills or attributes. This one comes in, I think, at $400. Yep, $400 on the value. So there's 1,000 of these. And then the last one, let's jump over to that one. This is the Alpha Tier 3. And these I know are $100. There's 2,000 of these in total supply, 2 hours of oxygen. So it's a great launch, and it's a good example of NFTs that are becoming gameplay utility, but also assets, meaning they're going to increase in value as the game gets more popular. That's how Play to Earn really dials in nicely. Lastly, I want to jump over to their white paper, which really kind of gets into the whole, the whole aspect of the game itself, which the art and the graphics on this are just amazing. I just love the way it's looked. So here's the spacesuits. Obviously, the whole aspect, you do need these to play, which is going to be an interesting, I think, because some people are looking at this in different ways. Sometimes it's land sales, like we just did something with Big Time. Theirs is a little different. It's in space. Here's the biospaceships. This I anticipate will be coming on as another asset. Oxygen stations, Play to Earn. Let's go in some other areas. This is where I thought this was interesting. So you need to, if you're going to do land ownership on this, on Moonbase Alpha, in this particular case, it's 1,000 dark tokens, which are locked inside the smart contract for 2 months. So that's essentially your staking aspect. After 2 months, you'll have the chance to claim the token rewards in the form of dark, and then of course you can use and decide whether you want to keep those at that point. So that's kind of the cool. It is going to be trading on the BEP 721 standard there on Binance, which I think is just a good thing in general if you're looking at overall projects. The cool thing here with Dark Frontiers and many of the game starter projects is I believe that these are some of the games that we'll be investing in the future. We put this group also in our top, or not our top 10, but in our 10 to watch, along with some others. And I'll break down each one of them and go into very specific of how each of these tokens, in some cases, how they're performing, how the project overall is starting to roll out. This is why you should be on the watch for some of these. I want to jump over to my slides quickly just to show you guys the group that we did. And again, this is a data set that we pulled for January, so it's kind of forward-looking a couple of days here. And we pulled together, this is not our top 20, this is not our top 10. We have a full list of our top 20 gaming projects coming maybe tomorrow. We're going to drop it over the holiday weekend, but you'll get a chance to see the full 20, and these will be ranked by top sentiment. What we did here was we selected ones to watch, and then we ranked them out by sentiment. So in this particular group, Thetan Arena led out with a 78.96. PlaceWar, as you know, we're a big fan of what Myrtle is doing over there. They're at 78.95. And holding, I was really impressed that they were right on the edge of in this particular group. Now, when we get to top 20, we've got some gaming projects that are scoring in the 80s, things like Axie, Sandbox, things of that nature. My Neighbor Alice, if you have not looked at this project, you should probably take a look a little closer. This one came in at 78.33. Dark Frontiers came in at 77.61 in the group. And then MetaGear, 76.53. This is another one I think you should take a look at. Monkeyball, everybody knows, we've talked about Monkeyball on this show quite a bit, and also just recently with what they had to do to really kind of make that project get launched. Came in at 74.91. I anticipated that one to be a little stronger, but it's actually coming back, and the project is doing well on the overall performance in terms of the token as well. Gods Unchained, this is not necessarily a new one, but it's a new one in terms of us putting it on a list. And Gods Unchained came in at 74.11. And then Bomb Crypto was in our top low cap list about 2 weeks ago. It was our #1 in the top low cap. Things have changed a little bit since then. There are a few projects in the low cap gaming. We'll probably do another video on low cap gaming updates for that, because I know the sentiment data is pretty intriguing. And then BitHotel came in at 73.01. This is another one that I think is an emerging project that everyone should take a look at. And then also Decimated, which is a new one that we've added to our game tracker. And that one came in at 70.29. So this is a good list. And when we sifted through all of some of the emerging games, a group of existing projects that we think you should be taking a look at, but definitely ones to watch. So we gave you a little bit of everything to kind of go into, and that way, hopefully, if you're not on the risky side, no big deal. It's not anything you have to worry about. You can kind of jump around and get into some other more safe elements if you think they are safer for you. Remember, when we're doing these shows, these are our market movers, and market movers are straightforward. We'll pull together data like the sentiment data you just saw. It's not investment advice. This is our own research. It's coming from our research team, our data analytics platform, our indice structure on how we do sentiment analysis and amplification analysis that gives us a lot of good indicators on how tokens are moving. I wanted to take a look at PlaceWar. This is one that we've talked about here on the show before, and you can kind of see they've had a little bit of a run up the last time. If you got a chance to purchase this in November, you had a nice little move. It dipped a little bit during this last downturn, and then it's had a little bit of movement right here. I have a feeling that with PlaceWar, what's going to happen with this one is it is getting ready to launch a couple of things. You're going to see the marketplace come alive. You're also going to see Placedonia, which is their lands. I think once that goes live, it's going to be a big deal. They are also launching the game itself coming up soon, so that's a good one to keep an eye on. Here's another one, was My Neighbor Alice. I'm going to go to the year-to-date. It had a nice little bump here recently and then has settled back in. So I still think this one is a buy, and it is one that I'm watching very closely because I think this has a very unique aspect to it. And the reason is that this project is so tuned in to kids. And I think whoever wins that battle, the kid gaming battle, meaning who's going to be that element of the blockchain gaming sector, I think My Neighbor Alice might have a good shot at it. And they're also coming over from a traditional gaming house and game developer process. So I think that's another advantage that they bring to the plate. Thetan Arena, which we've talked about, I think with Thetan, there's a lot of buzz around this project right now. It had that all-time high back here in what was that? Yeah, end of November, right at 11:25. So around Thanksgiving, and then it's kind of slid off a little bit. This one might be a good time to get into this one if you are looking at a little bit more risk tolerance, this would be one that I might recommend for that kind of scenario. Dark Frontiers, which we just went through, let's take a look at their year-to-date. This is on the Dark token. And again, this game is not out yet. We'll probably see gameplay on this. Let me jump over to their roadmap because this was interesting to me. Q4, what we just talked about in the beginning of the episode is they're getting out their first NFT pre-sale, which is in the spacesuit side. Q1, that's where we're going to see land ownership come into play. So I think that'll be an interesting one. Be on the lookout for that. Multiplayer experience development. NFT merging and upgrading, I think that'll be an interesting aspect. And then Q2, RPG gameplay V2 will start to hit. So this is going to be where I would really start watching what's happening with Dark Frontiers. Let's come over to, and of course, if you're following Dark Frontiers, I also want you to follow this one right here, and that is GameStarter. GameStarter is the launch pad essentially for a lot of these projects. And on GameStarter, if you haven't seen some of the projects that they are moving out with, they've got Pixel Pix coming out, Kingdom X, this one right here, Kyber9. Some of these I'm not sure about just yet. We're going to try to get into tracking some of these for you so you've got a little bit better understanding. I wouldn't recommend any of them as of yet, mainly because we want to see them. We want to see kind of the team behind them, also see what's going on sentiment data because that'll tell us a lot more. So you got to be careful with a lot of these projects as you get into those kind of things. The last one I wanted to talk about was Decimated. Now, Decimated is new, and it is a brand new token. They've just got it listed here recently, but I want to go to the actual game itself. Now, this is one that is very visual on the aspect, but as we start to see more and more projects like this come to reality, one thing I wanted to bring up here was kind of their approach on Discord, their Telegram community, and then you can also become a patron on this, which is the first time I've seen a project go that direction. So interesting to see how these things come again. And remember, always look at your teams. It's important that you understand who the people are behind these projects, what they have been doing in the past, and understanding whether or not they're true game designers. All that kind of stuff really comes into play when you get into these because that is going to drive the success of these projects, especially in play to earn or play and earn. All of those factors that come into digital asset value, the land assets. If you were part and listened into what we were doing with Big Time, you got a chance to see some things happening there with the VIP passes and also the space sale, those kind of things. And maybe you had a chance to get into a land sale over on Sandbox. There's just so many opportunities here for these digital assets, in gaming assets. And again, this is a new definition of how blockchain and crypto will be utilized along with the governance tokens and the actual trade tokens that you'll be able to invest in the projects themselves. So many ways to go about this and to continue to understand. The key here is to really kind of stay close to the two things we watch very closely is sentiment data, because that will drive price action data. It's almost instantaneous. When we see a sentiment move, especially when we see amplification start to rise above the sentiment score, that's when we start to see a game or any project, including traditional crypto tokens, really start to move in terms of price action, because it starts to generate a lot of interest. As you guys know, and I've talked about this quite a bit, is that this industry is not the traditional fundamentals that you're tracking. You have to track a new set of fundamentals in crypto. And I was listening to an interview by Sam Bankman-Fried, who is talked about this. Sam, founder of FTX, has talked about this before, is that memification is a big part of how price action is driven on the crypto market. And because the crypto market is so tied graphically to the metaverse, gaming, and also just in general, people understanding and seeing kind of the evolution of where marketing is going on social and all of that. That's why sentiment data is very critical, because it will drill down into and cut through a lot of the fluff and get into tokenomics in some cases if you're talking about traditional tokens, or into gaming backgrounds, the teams, all those kind of things play into that. And it really helps you guys kind of put together a much better strategy in how you're going to market with your strategies when it comes to metaverse and gaming. All right, hey, listen, you're over on the podcast right now. That's good. Love to see you. Love to listen to you over there and get your feedback. But the number one thing you need to do is, of course, jump in here to the YouTube channel. This is where you need to see the charts. You get a chance to see some of our data. And it's also a great place to join the Diamond Circle. It's easy and free. Of course, you can always hit me up on Twitter, and it's just @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.